do
There
that.
we go. Now we're live on my end.
Okay, yep, now I see it. Okay, sorry, y'all. I went stupid for a minute.
Remember, next time I got to go up beside your name, your picture, and hit the edit.
Yep, because and hopefully it'll just do it now. I forgot because when I made you administrator on this, you just add your YouTube like I do mine, and that's what we thought about at the same time. That's funny. Funny.
We got it.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. That way. Okay. Now we're together. You know, it's never that organized. If it was, then we would be called actresses instead of YouTubers. Sure. We would be getting paid a whole lot more money too. We better be. But I don't know if I would want to deal with the Hollywood crap. So I'm good.
Yeah.
I see you, Kane. I know I'm surprised you're awake. I just remembered you told me at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or whatever time it was this morning that you didn't know if you was going to be awake. Hey, everybody coming in.
Yep. Hello, Leah. And hello, Trisha. You showed up. Glad you made it. Hi, Kane. Hi, True.
You know, I didn't even write that. That sent it for me. Oh, it did yours too. You said hello, everyone, too.
At the same time.
Great.
It's funny.
Okay. Now that we're amazed at this. What is that, Kane? Is that our live? Because I don't want to click on this and it be.
Well, it says live, so who knows? Okay.
It wasn't under Christy's live?
No, it wasn't under the one I posted. The first one.
Okay.
So that's why. So I'll have to remove that one on my page.
Yeah, it should still hopefully give everybody a thing that says you're live.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. I added her as administrator, and so now she has to manually.
Okay. Thank you, Leah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Very, very good. Okay, so we're live everywhere. Everywhere we're supposed to be, that is. Everywhere we're supposed to be. Well, oh yeah. So I don't really know what's going on, y'all. I thought of this last night. I told Kane and I told Christy this, and I don't know how this works. So before everybody starts yelling, they can't do this and can't do that. I don't know the ins and outs, but Trump does not like that Josh guy. Isn't that his name? I never can remember that man's name. Joshua Hurt or whatever his name is. Because Trump said that he had fired him or they had to resign or whatever. So, and this is kind of far-fetched, I guess, if you think about it, but I would think the 30-day thing that Christy was just talking about makes more sense. But the only other thing I can think about, if they don't have something that puts him there, that they've been keeping back or that they just found. But I think if they have anything, it's something they've been keeping back. But Trump could, and it's not going to be Trump that goes through and reads his case because Trump doesn't do law. He literally has to have somebody legal in law. But if noted about the case, he could pardon him he's not going to do it if there's hardcore evidence that Brian Koberger did this. But because the way Josh and them do things, I don't know. Kane's do you think Trump knows about this case? I was like, well, shit, everybody knows about this case, but he's got to be watching it since how he gave Josh those two options or whatever, when he got in office. But I just can't see. Listen, I know to get the death penalty off the table, but Brian Koberger doesn't care about being around other people. So the isolation part, you know what I mean? And he would have 40 years before it would probably go through appeal and the death penalty at least would be taken off the table. So I can't see him doing this just to get the death penalty off the table like that. I can't see Ann Taylor even letting them. I can't see Ann Taylor going to the prosecution asking for a plea deal unless they found something that, literally places him at that house, like a picture of him walking through the door or something.
Yeah.
even if they found something related to Brent Kovacka, which I know a lot of people think that's far fetched, but him and Xana he knows Xana and Xana's dad because he's Facebook, and I don't know if I can still find it. I didn't take a screenshot. I didn't do nothing then. I don't know why. This was all still new about Brent and stuff, but Brent was talking to Xana or commented on Xana's photo, a gymnastics photo on Facebook, and was talking to her dad like in the comments. So,
Yeah.
oh, he can't pardon state cases, only federal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Meg, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I guess they could have something done though if there's no evidence and they think that. I mean, I don't really know what the hell they could do, y'all. I'm just trying to think because I don't understand why he would. Oh, the governor can pardon state cases. Okay, I got you, Meg. Thank you, because I showed it and I wasn't thinking about that either.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and that's far fetched. I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I don't understand. They didn't fight this hard unless this is a government distraction because they don't want us looking at China and Israel, all that good shit. I mean, not that this didn't happen. It happened, but they've drug this out like this for that long. I mean, you know, I don't know that. I mean, I'm not going to say they wouldn't do it. I'm just saying that I've never seen a case like this. I've never heard of a case like this. I mean, can the judge keep him from being able to have that 30-day or use that 30-day? I mean, because he don't have to sign it for 30 days, right? Yeah, I have no idea about this shit. I have no idea.
Good morning, Ro.
Confesses they pretty much they've done. You know, what I mean, they know they can't get out of it at all. Like I know that our system can be corrupt, but there is still a chance if there's no evidence. Then I mean, there's a chance that somebody in the jury would be like, wait a minute, I'm confused.
Yeah. Hi, Rock Chalk. Good to see you. Ro and Stormy and anybody else I missed. But
I mean,
yeah.
and you know, people's called the governor's office and complained because I mean, I have, and even if federal can't do nothing, I've called, you know, that lady, I don't remember her name now, the blonde lady, the Trump's got in office because this stuff is crazy. And even if he pleads guilty or whatever, the prosecution has still, I mean, there's still some crazy stuff going on. And I'm not going to say, like, there's some people say there's no way Brian Koberger could have done this. That's crazy to say that because, yeah, there's a way. I don't think it has to do with whatever they're saying it's for. I think that if he had something to do with this, then he was not alone and he was paid. I don't even think he was paid to do it. I think he owed somebody something and they had something over on him and he did it. I don't think he's some just crazy psycho jealous of these kids, got to go. I don't think all that because that's just makes no sense. But I mean, even Sloan Bella said he was in the house, though. I mean, not that he didn't do the crime, but he was in the house. So, I mean, maybe he took, I don't know. It's driving me nuts because I don't know.
Yeah, I've always.
But I wonder if they found Brent Kopacka's DNA on unknown DNA, and then they're not going to bring him in it because now, of course, the cops, oh, he's a veteran. They didn't care when they did what they did, but you know, and they can't. But then you would have to tie Brian to him because they keep on saying Brian, and I don't know if he's got a link back to Pennsylvania, but if he was doing DRUGS, I think that's where I think Brent may be where the 1122 house could have been getting some of their stuff. Maybe not. That's not fact. That is alleged. That's just my thoughts. Maybe or something going on. You know.
Yeah.
And that has nothing, no disrespect to him about his veteran status. Like I'm not talking about when he was in the military. He's not in the military right now. So I mean, I'm still thankful for what he did, and I do think he needed mental help. And had he got what he needed from the veterans offices and doctors, then he might not have even turned to using DRUGS. But I do think he was doing something. And I mean, Brian looked like he was not H, but he looked like he was doing cocaine or something. I mean, for real.
Yeah, he looked like he was days without sleep.
And I'm not judging. He don't have kids. He's not. I mean, he can do what he wants to do. You know.
Yep. Like I said, me and you talked about it. I've always thought that way back in the beginning when that post was made about that they were in the back parking lot doing the RUGs and,
Mhm.
you know, seen them through the window, and one went in, and then, you know, Brian waited and, you know, took off or something. I'm almost wondering if a good portion of that story isn't true. And they were back there, and maybe the other person went in first, and then he went in and seen and then took off. You know, like there's so many different thoughts that I've had on
Yeah,
this.
I mean, he could have just seen it. And if Brent's not here anymore, if Brent
Yep.
did, you know, then what, how is
Joey.
he gonna, and he may feel like if Anne found that out, I don't think she's known anything before now, but we can only speculate till tomorrow. This really could be just one of these things that they're doing this so they can push. I mean, I don't
Yep.
know. They could all be in on this. Hell if I know. And
Yep.
the reason I say that is because they didn't get with the parents first. And
Yeah.
that is like a no-no. I don't know if there's anything legal that can be done about it, because I think like that's just a courtesy. Like, I don't want to say courtesy, like you should do that, but I don't know if there's a legal aspect to that or not. But it is I have never heard of them not, you know, doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the judge could actually tell him he's got to go to trial. I mean, he could deny the plea bargain as far as we've been told.
Yep. And if he listens to the family, that's what the family's asking him to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, tomorrow's going to tell us a lot. So, it's just.
Is it public tomorrow?
I believe so.
And I know some people was asking about, don't everything have to be unsealed? No, it does not have to be unsealed right away. And I don't know what the legal thing is for it to be unsealed, because Delphi was not unsealed right away.
Yeah.
Technically, I think it's supposed to be, because we have the right, all that good stuff, but I don't think they're going to unseal everything. It's going to take 5 years, I think, for them to unseal everything. I don't think they're going to do it all at once. I just don't.
No. Especially if there's, you know, more than we know, and they're trying to hide that. They're going to take their time at releasing that stuff. I don't think it'll be right away either. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if it's just not.
That River Bear Teacup said all that has happened. So let me put this comment up here, because let me get to my StreamYard thing.
Nipple twister cane.
Okay. All that has happened so far is the defense asked the prosecution to present a plea deal. MSM is insane for saying he is going to agree. They don't know that. Oh yeah, that I was wondering that too. I don't even know why I think that the defense has to ask them that. Like, that's probably something Ann Taylor, because there's a lot of stuff Ann Taylor has to do. We're like, why is she doing that? Because she has to. It's part of what they have to do. And so I was wondering if they actually had to put a plea deal together just to. I don't know why. I don't know all the laws, y'all. So some things that sound crazy to us, that's Ann Taylor's doing because she literally has to do it. So
yeah.
And I was wondering if that's what happened. And what they got told was they had to put a plea deal together, and one of the parents just took it as, Ann Taylor's going to take it because she asked for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It could, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, River. What I was thinking is maybe the prosecution turned something in last minute, like after that or something, that they had, that they could have even been holding, that like puts, I don't know why they would wait this long. We've all discussed that, but every time I do a reading on it, when Ashley's done a reading on it from the Reckoning Code, there's something that the prosecution did not want to hand over until they had to. And I don't know what that is. And so that's the only other thing I could think of. But it could be exactly what you're saying, that they, but the news and stuff, like, why would they? I know that they don't tell the truth all the time, but
I agree with Chuck's too. I think Ann, if this is true and this is what's happening, Ann definitely seen something changed recently. This wasn't that, you know what I mean? Like, something had to have changed recently for this to come out right now. and maybe Anne did see something that she didn't before, or maybe this is just like I've said, and it's to buy the time. Who knows?
Yeah, because it's like Christy said, if they wait the 30 days, if you don't sign it and he tells them the 29th day that he don't want to do it, it's going to be, they've done put off this time. So they're going to at least push the trial back, I would think 30 days, unless Judge Hippler's just like, nope, because y'all did that. So y'all, you know, and he might tell them that tomorrow. If this is what you're trying to do, then, I mean, I don't know what's legal about that. Or, I mean, I don't think they care because they just been doing stuff that I don't think is legal anyway. But, you know, I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
I don't see Anne taking all this time. Like, this could have been, you know. I would also think if the prosecution was holding something that was this, like, they were already supposed to turn in the evidence. So they, I mean, I don't know.
It's just weird timing after all these leaks, and we're going to get, you know, another freaking movie coming out, and I don't know.
I don't think he's going to sign it tomorrow. I mean, he may, but I mean, it's just kind of wild to me. He could, because my intuition on this one's just kind of shot because, like, I mean, it floored me yesterday. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if it's something he has to, like, sign it tomorrow and then they give him 30 days. And if he changes his mind in that time period, then, or, you know, is it something?
She thought she was getting nowhere with the judge. I mean, that it's not going to be up to the judge. It's going to be up to the jury. And like I said, if they don't have any proof, it is worth, hey, Hershey, it's worth taking it to try. I mean, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, though, so hell, I don't know. But I mean,
Michelle, hi, Hershey. Joey, I see you. Yeah, I just don't make sense.
And maybe somebody said that they know him. Maybe there's something he knows, and he's scared that if his knowledge he has, that they're just going to fry him at trial. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but at this point, I'd be taking that risk because at least then, even if you do get charged and you get the death penalty, you can appeal it.
Yeah, and I want to know who the other DNAs are. I mean, because that's crazy. Yeah. Like, they wouldn't be able to give him the death penalty anyway if there's other DNAs. They should not be able to because, I mean, you can't. What?
Yep. And that's, he could go and he could get charged, but they could drop that. They could take the DP off the table and still, you know, I mean, he has so many better chances just to keep going.
He can appeal it. I mean, he can appeal. And the thing is, because they have violated his rights and stuff, like, the Supreme Court is not Idaho court, you know?
And that's what this comes down. And it's not even whether he did or didn't do it at this point. I'm just more mad at the system for our rights because they have not proved to us that he did this.
And the thing is, it's not, if there's no proof, like, it's not if you did it or not. It's if they can prove above reasonable doubt that if they can convince a jury of that, because there's no film that we know of him actually doing it. So there's no way that it's not, even if there is no hard proof like that, it's not whether somebody did it or didn't do it. It is whether you can get above that reasonable doubt or not. That's all. That's what that is.
Yep.
And that's how our system works. And I mean, do I want him to go free if he did this? No. But if they don't have any evidence, you can't. I mean, I don't know what to say about that because that's a hard situation. But that's how our system is supposed to run.
Yeah.
And what's sad is he could get off from this and in 20 years say, I actually did it, and then explain to everybody how he did it, and there's nothing that can be done. But that is how our system runs. I mean, that is the way. And the reason is because it's supposed to be investigated. It's supposed to be done right. But, I mean, I can't see the other lawyer, Massoff, I always say her name wrong, just saying, okay, she's not one that's just going to say she thinks somebody's innocent, y'all. That woman ain't just running around saying, I think they're innocent, that's not what she's doing. That woman is very sophisticated, very good at what she does, and she works on a federal level a whole lot more than I think state. So she's not just running around saying folks are innocent because they don't do that. So that's another thing. It's just weird.
You know what, Rock Chalk? I know what you're talking about. I watched it on my local news this morning, and they interviewed Ben Mogan, and I have to agree with Rock on that one. He didn't look too well himself.
Probably not, because he was not okay.
Well, he seemed to be like plea deal wasn't that bad of a deal, which kind of had me a little shocked with how he acted.
Yeah, we can play that. Where's it at, y'all? Or somebody, does one of the mods have a link? What is that? Hang on, let me put it up here. Hang on.
Interview from this morning.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in here too fast. I was like, you shouldn't be blocked on mine or Christie's. And I was saying that for Christy because okay. Does anybody have the link to that interview?
I'm trying to.
Too hot, too pretty.
That's a good one.
And see, it does make me wonder if the fucking prosecution didn't just send, like, basically make the parents think that he was going to take it, since how, you know what I mean? I don't think they just made it up. That I think if that happened, then the prosecution, when they talked to the parents, were like, yeah, the defense is asking for us to do a plea deal, so we think he's going to take it. And that may not even be what's going on for real.
We both did it again. We wrote fleas at the same time.
Oh. Lord have mercy. You know what? We're not writing that. Did you write fleas?
Yeah.
I didn't write it, but I said his name, and I think this thing has voice thing or something too. I'm not sure. I don't even know how to. YouTube has it or something.
I'm trying to find that interview.
No, Kane, if you have that link, we can watch that too.
What links he have?
Yeah, we know only prosecution can enter a plea deal. That's what we were saying, that the defense might have asked the prosecution to do that. That don't mean they're gonna do it. I mean, oh, I gotta go to YouTube. Hang on, y'all. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. Rock Chalk, are you in mine? Because if I mod you, you can do it. So add as moderator.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about that.
There, Rock. I modded you so you can drop the link.
Okay. All right. And you have to go to YouTube, Christy, like to get the link, because you can't open it in. I don't know why. Or you have to copy it and then paste it, because you can't open it in.
Oh, okay.
StreamYard chat. I don't know why. It would be difficult.
Okay. Okay.
All right, y'all.
Firefly. Yeah, that's exactly it. There it is. Rock Chalk posted it.
Did you? Okay. Why is it not coming? Why stupid thing? Christy, click it, and because you can open it too and play it.
I don't know if it'll.
Oh, you gotta go to YouTube. Wait a minute. Why is this thing doing this? I'm fixing to throw this computer too. Hang on. Oh, I'm in not live chat.
Thank you, Rock. Yeah, it won't let me even begin to click it.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm getting it. I just was on the wrong thing. I don't know why they do this like this. It drives me nuts. It's so stupid. They want to make it difficult. They do a good job of it most of the time. You'd think StreamYard would have updated that by now, because that's wild. Okay, hang on. I got to turn my volume
We've been hanging on. We're still hanging.
What was that going? I'm sorry, y'all. Hang on. Okay. And share the screen. 1 second, y'all.
Technology. I hate it, Stormy. I'll be 50 years old in 2 weeks, and I hate it. Let me tell you.
All right. Let me change stages. Christy, I gotta add you. I had to add you to the stage. Sorry.
I was like, what was that?
Okay, share screen.
We're all hanging in there.
Okay. Okay. Well, I love how that did not put
Hey,
us on the side. Hang on. Okay.
Again, thank you all for being here with us. Wait till I get 65. I don't want to. They say life begins at 50, and I'm like, hey, hold up. Can I go back to about 30? Because, nah. July 8th, I will turn 50, and shh.
She said, shh.
Yeah, shh.
I had to move us. Hang on.
41 or 39. I'd go with 39. I was 39 and holding for a good probably 6 years, and then I had to admit that I wasn't 39 no more.
Okay. Now, y'all, let me play this. Hang on.
Oh, well, thank you. Good morning, everybody coming in.
Okay, this is the, what is this? This is Maddie's dad, I believe.
We are tracking major developments this morning in the Musco murders case. We have learned that the suspect, Brian Koberger, plans to take a plea deal that would take the death penalty off the table.
KREM 2's Christian Garza joins us this morning with reaction to this decision, including from a family of one of the 4 victims who is not happy with how this turned out. Christian?
We are expecting that Brian Koberger will change his plea in court tomorrow. Families of the 4 University of Idaho students tell us they were sent an email with a letter attached saying he's agreed to plead guilty on all 4 counts of first-degree murder. Koberger is charged with murdering Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogan in their off-campus home 2.5 years ago. The plea deal comes just 2 months before the trial was originally scheduled to start. In exchange for pleading guilty, Koberger will receive 4 consecutive life sentences. Prosecutors had been seeking the death penalty if he were found guilty. This plea also has Koberger waiving his right to appeal. Benjamin Mogan, Madison's father, sat down with CBS News to talk about this new development in his daughter's murder case and what it means not just for the victims' families moving forward, but Brian Koberger as well.
Yeah, it's going to be nothing nice to go through for the rest of your life. And he'll have to think about that every day, all the terrible things that he allegedly did. And, yeah, you know, there's pros and cons to everything. But if you get a quick death sentence, then, you know, you don't have to spend decades thinking about how terrible you made the world. Yeah, I think it's justice when you don't have to torture families that have been already through the most horrific thing they could ever imagine, you know.
After the decision to take the plea deal was made, another family of one of the 4 victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, sent a strong statement about the plea deal, saying in part, the Latah County Prosecutor's Office's treatment of our family during this process is something I wouldn't wish on anyone. We weren't even called about the plea. We received an email with a letter attached. That's how Latah County's Prosecutor's Office treats murder victims' families. Our family is frustrated right now, and that will subside, and we will come together as always and deal with the reality that we face moving forward. We have that full statement from the Gonsalves family up on our website, creme.com. Details for this new development in this case are still limited, but we are keeping an eye on what you at home can expect from tomorrow's court hearing. In studio, Christian Garza, Creme 2 News.
And our Amanda Rowley will be in Boise tomorrow to report on the Kohberger plea hearing. Watch for her reports from the courthouse. We also plan to bring you the hearing live on Creme 2 Plus. You can download it now on your TV and watch for free.
Okay, y'all, I'll remove that for a minute so I can go get the other links. Okay, what was the next one? Was about Kaylee's dad's interview. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, who had that link? I don't remember now. Kane, one of them. Oh, I bet you that was it. Was that it with Banfield? Probably. All right, 1 second, y'all.
Rock Chalk just dropped one too.
Okay, got you. Me and this thing is 5 because it's being but here we go.
No, we're not cloning you, Kane. Gosh, we couldn't have 2 of you. No way.
Okay. 1 second.
Yes, Rock is always pulling through. Her got her links out for us today. Thank you.
There is breaking news and there is breaking news. And when you do a true crime show and something happens at the level it happened today, this is sort of calamitous, so to speak. You may have heard by now, but that man, Bryan Kohberger, has decided to throw in the towel, so to speak. And the government has tossed that towel at him. Bryan Kohberger has agreed to take a plea deal from the state of Idaho in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students 2.5 years ago. I didn't expect this, y'all. I did not expect to come on the air with you. I'm on vacation right now, just so you know. I did not expect this 1 month till jury selection. I already had my plane ticket booked. I was ready to go. And I expected to be in Idaho pretty much until November, when a jury would decide if he was guilty or not guilty, or would be going to the death penalty, right? I did not expect a plea agreement this close to trial, but there are all sorts of reasons why this may have happened, and I am going to go over all of them with a lot of very special guests, and one of those very special guests is Steve Gonsalves and his attorney. They are going to join me in a few minutes for their first national interview, and my heart is absolutely breaking for them. This was not what they wanted. This was not what the Gonsalves family wanted. They were vehemently opposed. I think it's more important to say they were vehemently opposed. Kaylee on the far right, her family has fought tooth and nail against any kind of concession on this. They wanted to see this all the way through to what they had hoped would be a firing squad. Xana Kernodle's family, apparently, according to TMZ, very upset about this. They spoke with an aunt of Xana's who said they are all upset. Maddie Mogan was best friends with Kaylee. And so Kaylee's family knows the Mogans, and they seem to be in lockstep. Ethan Chapin's parents, you know, it's been a little different for them. Stacy and Jim have struggled as mightily as anyone else with the pain and suffering they've been through. But as far as death penalty was concerned, it just wasn't the highest priority. It was not going to bring Ethan back. Did they change their minds over the months and months they've been waiting for this justice? I don't know. They're very, very quiet about this. There are two people not on that chart, and they are not in this picture either. They're cropped out because they survived. They are the two surviving roommates from 1122 King Road. They are also victims of this crime, and they also have a say. I can just guess that Bethany and Dylan did not want to go to trial because they have lived hell as well over the last 2.5 years. And going to trial and getting up on that witness stand and saying what they know while the world watches and then dissects everything about them like they have before, I imagine they did not want that. But I can tell you this is a horrifyingly difficult decision to make. Why the prosecutors offered, only they can tell us that. And I hope one day they will. They may not. Why Bryan Kohberger accepted? Oh, I can definitely weigh in on that. They had him dead to rights. And when I say dead, I mean dead. They had him dead to rights. I said the same thing about OJ, though. And so I know better than to say slam dunk 100%. There's always a little bit of room in reasonable doubt. So there's always that risk. Did they have him 100%? As far as the facts and the evidence, yeah. Was there a chance someone might get on that jury and hang it and cause a retrial? Yeah, sure. Was there a chance that maybe they would convict and not choose death? Is that possible? Would a jury convict maybe and say, but we can't do death penalty? Saw it in Jodi Arias. So yeah, that's a possibility too. So these are all part of the recipe, right? Bryan Kohberger will be standing up and saying that he's guilty of killing all 4 of these kids on Wednesday, 2 days from now. Brian Enton has been on this story since the beginning, and he broke this news today about the plea deal. He joins me live now. You and I have been sort of talking all day, whether it's been on the phone or over the airwaves, that we're both pretty gobsmacked by this. There's an emotional toll that, you know, these families go through, and then you become very invested as a reporter as well.
Yeah, I mean, I told you earlier, Ashley, I was totally shocked by this in the sense that people have been asking me for the last several months, do you think that there is going to be a plea deal? And I always very strongly said, no, I don't think there is. I have not gotten that inclination at all from the prosecutor. I have not gotten that feeling that that is what most of the family members want, and they have a really solid case. And that is how I always felt and what I told people until Friday, until 3 days ago. And that is when I learned that there was this meeting with victims' families and that this first came up. What would you think of a plea deal? And what happened after that is strange because it happened quickly and it happened over the weekend. It was last night. It was on a Sunday night that the prosecution sent over a proposed deal to the defense last night, saying, look, you'll get the death penalty off the table if you agree to 4 consecutive life sentences back to back, 10 years also on the burglary charge, waive all rights to appeal, which is big. You can't appeal. You'll be in prison for the rest of your life. And then prosecution will also seek restitution to pay for some of the funeral expenses. So that offer went out late last night on a Sunday night. And then it all happened very quickly today. We get the news that he accepted the deal and that the trial will not be happening. And now there will be this plea hearing on Wednesday.
You know, this has sort of rattled everybody following the case. It's certainly rattled the family. Steve Gonzalez, as I said, is coming up in just a moment to tell us what he's gone through over this last 3-4 days. And then today, he's got a lot to add to some of the public statements he said online. And so that is coming up. Brian, I opened the show by saying they had him dead to rights. And I feel as though when you and I watched bits and pieces come through the gag order over the last 2.5 years, we felt like it was impossible for Ann Taylor to climb that hill to reasonable doubt. Do you have any idea whether there'd been discussions throughout the last 2.5 years ever about getting to a plea deal?
Not that I know of. I have never heard one thing about a plea deal until Friday. That is when I found out that these discussions it started. Maybe they were happening in secret before. I believe that there was this negotiation happening behind the scenes between the prosecution and the defense. I don't know how long it's been going on for, but you mentioned the evidence. I mean, there's so much, but I mean, his DNA was found on the knife sheath in the house where the murders happened. His Amazon history showed that he bought that K-bar knife used for the murders. The cell phone pings took him to the house over and over again and drive.
What happened? Trisha, did we lose you? Trying to see what happened. I don't know. She must have froze or something. Let me see if I can. Oh. Rock, I have a laptop. Thank you, Stormy. The bullshit meter kicked in. Here comes Trisha back. Give a minute. Add to stage.
Oh my God.
What happened, chick?
Am I on? Hang on. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
The heck? Okay. I was making sure. I hit the plug on this stupid computer and I didn't mean to, and it like turned everything off. I was like, oh crap. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Lord have mercy. Okay. Hang on one second, y'all. Let me get this thing back. It's right where it left off, so I just redid all the tabs. 1 second.
I don't know where she went to. Oh, we do a lot of hanging on with Trisha, don't we? Hang on. Here we go.
Maybe they were happening in secret before. I believe that there was this negotiation happening behind the scenes between.
Thank you, Rock.
His DNA was found on the knife sheath in the house where the murders happened. His Amazon history showed that he bought that K-bar knife used for the murders. The cell phone pings took him to the house over and over again and driving by the house. The surveillance video showed his car going up the drive. I mean, the evidence was a lot. But, you know, again, I told you this earlier, in some ways, just for those of us following it, I almost feel duped because not only has the prosecution sold this bill of goods that they were going to fight this till the end, but Ann Taylor, the same thing. I mean, she said openly in court that she personally believes that Bryan Kohberger is innocent. And now she also just, you know, basically is ready to sign on the dotted line. I don't think anybody saw this coming.
I will always say a defense attorney, you know, has to believe in their client. They have to give them the most fulsome defense. That's America. Everybody gets equal justice. It's what makes us incredible. So I won't fault her for throwing her, full faith and trust into her client. But I will ask you this. Last week, there was a ruling that came down saying that Ann Taylor was no longer able to assert an alternative perpetrator theory in this trial, which would have meant that Bryan Kohberger could say, I think Joe Schmo, Jack Smith, and John Schmay all had evidence that showed they could have been in that house, which could amount to a little bit of reasonable doubt for a juror. They got smacked down. The judge said, you don't have enough evidence to raise those kinds of allegations against real people whose lives could be destroyed. Do you think, Brian, that might have been the proverbial nail in this life without parole coffin? Meaning Anne looked at her client and said, Brian, I can't save you now. I can't mount that defense. I can't save you. Make a decision, either yes or no. Take the deal, or you may end up in front of a firing squad.
It's possible. I mean, look, the four alternate perpetrators that she wanted to name, and we haven't reported the names. We know some of the names. I mean, these are people who the names came up early on. Even the judge said it's a bunch of BS. They were not the killer. So to think that she actually expected that was going to go her way and she was going to be able to bring those names up during the trial, I would suspect she knew that the judge was going to rule against her, because even early on, he said, you need more evidence here. This doesn't add up. She asked for a delay. That was denied. I wonder if she has been trying to perhaps convince Bryan Kohberger for some time to be open to a deal. Maybe he's the one who wanted to keep pushing forward, and she finally convinced him, like, we need to do this. But again, to my knowledge, there was no offer of a deal officially until Sunday night. So this all happened very, very quickly.
Do you have any idea if Bryan Kohberger's family is going to fly out from Pennsylvania either for Wednesday, where he has to stand up and break everybody's hearts, break his family's hearts, break the victims' families' hearts, and say, I did it. I killed each and, he'll have to say to each and every charge, I killed Kaylee Gonzalez. I killed Maddie Mogan. I killed Xana Kernodle, and I killed Ethan Chapin using a knife. He's going to have to do that. Do you think that his family is going to come out and stand behind him for this?
I don't know. My gut says probably not, considering they have never been to Idaho to visit him in jail, and they have never been to any of the hearings in Idaho. Granted, I did see them in Pennsylvania after he was arrested, and they showed up for that. I've reported on in the past, there's financial issues there. This all happened so late. I mean, this hearing is the day after tomorrow, Ashley. Can they make plans that quickly? Can they afford a last-minute plane ticket? I mean, think about the victims' families. Like, they were getting ready for a 3-month trial starting at the beginning of August, and now they're told on a Sunday night something's happening, and then suddenly on Monday, oh, by the way, yes, it happened, and this is the hearing now going to happen on Wednesday. So, I mean, for both sides, this happened so quickly. I don't know that his family can really figure out the trip that fast.
Yeah. All right, Brian, you've done incredible work, especially breaking this news. This is just so, I don't know, the whole earth just kind of tilted on its axis for those in the true crime community. I really appreciate your hard work on this, and I know it's been a backbreakingly long day for you, so thank you.
Thanks, Ash.
I want to bring in Steve Gonzalez. He is the father of Kaylee Gonzalez. His attorney is Shannon Gray, who has stood by him steadfast from the beginning. Steve, I don't know what to say. You're the first person I thought of when I heard this news today. I reached out to you right away, first to tell you how sorry I was, because I know how this is landing, at least I think I do. But I wanted you to have your say. I wanted you to be able to say out loud for everyone to hear what this means to you and your family.
This is anything but justice. This is the opposite of our will. There was no majority believing that this was acceptable. I want to honor all the police officers, the FBI, and all the people that work their tail off. The failure is at the court level, 100%. But the men and the boots on the ground and the women that were out there working, I want to honor everything that they did for our children, 100%. The fault is in leadership and the people that you place this evidence upon. They were weak. They decided to play God and decide what this man's decision should be, and not a jury, not a peers, not his peers. They, so that's where we are today.
Walk me through what happened. Brian Enton, did some really great reporting at the top of this show here, but tell me from your perspective how the last 3 days have played out.
I would say ever since Hitler has demanded an independent investigation, they couldn't get away from this case fast enough. They've done everything to make this case go away. So I don't know what that entails, but he said he was going to have an independent investigator, and all of a sudden we seemed like we were on rails to get rid of this case and make a plea deal. I mean, he's guilty. We all know he's guilty. There's more than enough evidence, but it's tough. It's tough to put a community through this, and it could be bad for reputations and business identities, and there's fallout. But this isn't the will of the victims. This is just one person making a decision, and it doesn't reflect what we were asking for.
Steve, did anybody ever call you from the prosecutor's office to just personally discuss this with you? Did anybody offer to meet with you in person to go over this potential plan?
We have meetings all the time on, particularly a lot of times on Friday. No. We had this regular meeting that we have to try basically do an update of what's going on, where things are at, because Idaho is actually an amazing state where it really does care about people. We just get one or two, people who just don't care about the victims and don't care about justice. And it's easy to take the weight out. It's easy to make an excuse and say, I'm doing this for the victims, even though I've never interviewed the victims. I've never really talked to them to find out what their true feelings are. So here we are. We're stuck, and we can't get out of it. I ask your audience if anybody knows Judge Hitler, reach out to him and ask him to put his foot down and not accept this offer. It doesn't reflect anything in Idaho. This is not justice. We had an outsider come to our community, kill our kids in their sleep while they're getting a college education, doing everything that they should do, and we don't have the courage to hold him accountable. No plea deal. Let's go for this guy. 100%. Let's do it. And that's how this family stands.
Steve, I know that, it's no secret your daughter Kaylee was so close with Maddie Mogen, best of friends. And I know that you got to know the Mogen family as well. Have you spoken with the Mogen family, and do you know what their reaction is to this plea decision?
We actually just had a meeting with the prosecution and just tore into it and made it clear that we were not in support of this, but we also invited other families into that, and I'll let them speak on their own that were part of that meeting, but we are in no way alone on this. Multiple families believe the same as we do, but I want to honor their abilities to speak independently and as their child. So I don't want to cross that line, but all I will say is there was no majority for this decision at all. And if they're not working for us, they're working against us, guys. I mean, we have to wake up to this. I mean, we have to hold people accountable. Coeur d'Alene just had a shooting where we attacked our firemen. People need to stand up to these monsters and stop freaking bowing down to them and giving them childcare. I mean, prison is nothing but adult childcare. You get free vision, you get free dental, you get free meals, you get AC, room and board, cable TV, internet access. It's ridiculous what we give our prisoners. Better than what we treat our vets. Our vets coming back from war with missing limbs. This is unacceptable.
Shannon Gray, I'm going to ask you to step in as well. Judge Hippler, Steve just mentioned Judge Hippler in this case. I have to ask you as a matter of law, would Judge Hippler have been fully integrated into this deal plan? Meaning, this is not a surprise to Judge Hippler. Is he going to have to weigh this and then rule from the bench as to whether he'll accept it or not? Or is it a fait accompli by the time they get this far down the road that the judge will accept it?
Well, I think a few weeks ago, Judge Hippler, talked about had there been an offer at all on this case. I think he mentioned it in the courtroom, and maybe that sparked something with the defense and the prosecution. I'm not sure. That being said, with a plea like this, it's with the life sentences and it's agreed upon by the state and the defense. There's small modifications sometimes that they can make to the sentencing regarding, restitution, some other things like that. But if the state presents sufficient facts to the judge or a plea of guilty to the counts, normally judges will accept that, and they'll let the defense know if they're not going to accept that ahead of time. So I would suspect that the plea will go through on Wednesday, and then they'll set over sentencing for a few weeks, and so the victims can be present to read victims' impact statements, etc. So
Steve, I covered a case where the defendant was so overwhelmingly guilty according to the evidence. And it was a death penalty case in Arizona. And that jury voted guilty, and they did not vote for death penalty. So that defendant, Jodi Arias, sits in a prison in Arizona as we speak, and she had multiple access to appeals. I wonder if there's any solace at all in knowing that this can't happen to him at this point. There can be no appeal. There can be not one squeak from Bryan Kohberger after he accepts that sentence at the end of this month, unlike what happened in Arizona, where there is always a chance the jury does not choose death. Is there any solace in the fact that you will at least have him silenced and there will be no appeals?
Absolutely zero. None. Could be no farther than how we believe. I want my community support. I want that jury to make the decision, not Thompson, not some old man who's 70 freaking years old deciding how my daughter's life weighs in a courtroom. That is not justice. That is not justice at all. I'll take my juries, I'll take my peers all day long. I'm sick of one man deciding or one woman deciding what a life's worth. So that's how I stand on that.
I fully understand how you feel. And none of us can understand what you're going through. None of us is walking in your shoes. And I'm just glad to give you this platform to be able to say these things publicly. And I'm also glad that you've got the support of Shannon Gray, who's just been a rock for you. Thank you to the both of you. Steve, please give Christy and your kids our love. We will still be here. We'll be here Wednesday. We'll be here at the end of the month, and we'll be here for you after that as well.
Well, thank you. And you've always been a hard worker, and that's why we've always tried to partner with people who put that extra effort. But we couldn't pick the prosecution. We inherited them. But everywhere we go, we partner with people like you who are relentless and tireless, and they just chase down the truth. And I really appreciate that's what you brought to our case. And when people reach out to me, I'll tell them that this is a network that you can partner with and understand that they'll be there to the very end.
God bless you, Steve. I think we just lost Shannon, but I'm sending you my my deepest love and wishes for some peace in all of this. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Steve Gonzalez joining us, as well as Shannon Gray, who, like I said, we just lost his connection at the very end there, but we certainly got the comments that we needed from Steve's attorney. After the break, there's another member of the Gonzalez family, the youngest sister, who wrote something so incredibly profound that my 38 years as a journalist, I don't think I could have written. I wanted to read a couple of those lines for you from Aubrey Gonzalez, Kaylee's little sister, because it is just, I mean, it's just it's earth-shattering that she could come up with these incredible concepts in such a time of despair. And then also I'm going to speak with Mark Garagos, who's been through his fair share of very, very high-profile trials, and he knows the way the inner workings are. Like, do these adversarial parties, prosecutor, defense, are they so adversarial when the doors close to the courtroom? Or do they talk about things like this? That's coming up right after this.
A criminal complaint was filed yesterday here in Latah County, charging the defendant, Mr. Kohlberger, with 4 counts of first-degree murder, in addition to felony burglary, which involves entering the residence with the intent to commit the crime of murder. As far as Mr. Kohlberger, I can share with you that he is a graduate student, Washington State University, and has an apartment residence over in Pullman. He has had an initial appearance in front of a judge in Pennsylvania. He is being held without bond, and the warrant from our magistrate judge here also provides for no bond. We understand that he's scheduled to be back in court in Pennsylvania next Tuesday afternoon, and that a public defender has been appointed for him there. The process at this point is, since he was arrested in another state, he has the opportunity to either waive extradition and return voluntarily to the state of Idaho, or if he prefers not to waive extradition, then we will initiate extradition proceedings through our governor's office.
We are back with this breaking news on the plea deal for Brian Kohlberger in the Idaho quadruple murder case, 2.5 years in and just 30 days, basically, till jury selection. My colleague, Brian Enton, who broke this story, is back with me live, as is Mark Garagos, who is one of the best attorneys in the business and has been through his share of high-profile cases. Brian, I want to start with you real quickly because you've got some reporting for me about what the prosecutors outlined to the families as their rationale for why this deal should go forward.
Yeah, I want to go through this list with you, Ashley, and kind of explain these different bullet points that they gave to the families about why they were supporting this plea deal. So they started with every trial, there's always risks. As we conveyed, we feel very confident about the strength of the state's case. However, this does not eliminate all risks associated with trial. They talked about a mistrial, hung jury, and the fact that this could result in the families having to go through the process again. They also said a month-long jury trial will impose an emotional, mental, financial, and physical toll on the families, friends, roommates of the victims without any certainty of an outcome. There would be some measure of finality if the defendant admits he was guilty of the murders. There is only one realistic way to get this type of closure, and that is through his entry of a guilty plea. So basically they were saying if the trial moved forward and he was pleading not guilty, they would have never gotten the satisfaction of a guilty plea. And this was interesting. They said that sadly, as many have experienced, there are individuals out there who believe in conspiracy theories about this case, believe the defendant to be innocent or support the defendant in some way. We know the sentiments of support of defendants have been unbearable. We can only hope that at least some of these people will turn their attention to other matters if the defendant takes responsibility and admits to his heinous crimes by pleading guilty. And the last two reasons they gave, or the last reason they gave, the state believes the death penalty is warranted in this case. We've never wavered in that. However, they talked about how people can remain on death row for 30 or 40 years, which has happened in Idaho. There would be appeals, and that this would just drag on and on for the families. Ashley?
Mark Garagos, Brian Enton just listed out some very strong reasons for why a plea deal is a great idea. If you're Steve Gonzalez, the state had this guy. They had him dead to rights. They had overwhelming bad facts that, I mean, I don't know that Ann Taylor could have climbed that Everest with every tool in the toolbox. Why a plea deal for a case that looked this rock solid?
You know, it shows you how jaded I suppose I am. I didn't understand why they took the plea deal, the defense. I don't get it. This is somebody, that was my first reaction. I know that may not be a popular reaction, but what's the advantage of him taking a plea deal to life without and no chance of appeal when it's a circumstantial case? Number one. Number two, the reasons the prosecutor gave here are compelling. I don't know. I've never had a trial where both the victims and the accused families hasn't said, how do you do this for a living? How do you go through a trial like this? Trials are not easy. Trials are some of the most stressful, unbelievably nerve-wracking things you could ever go through. And the idea of having a defendant get up, plead guilty, accept responsibility, say, I'm not going to appeal, waive my right to appeal, and all he gets is he's not going to sit on death row for 30 years or until such time as the death penalty may be eliminated, as it is in many states. I get the raw emotion. I get that, and I understand nobody. Nobody's going to second guess anybody who's had the unthinkable happen to them. So I understand that.
Yeah.
At the same time, please, why go through this just to have a jury say the same thing and then have to listen? Let me tell you what would end up happening. You get to a guilty verdict in that phase. You then get to a penalty phase, and you have to listen to mitigation evidence. If you're the victim at that point, and that's a legal conclusion, the victim, because somebody's been found guilty, you don't want to hear a litany of mitigation evidence about somebody who has been found guilty of killing your loved one. I can't think of anything worse. I don't want to hear about all the good things or all the problems or this or that. I just want the person gone. And I think there is some closure with somebody standing up and taking responsibility. And I think that with some hindsight and I remember, Ashley, you tell me, when we first talked about this, some of the victims' families were on your show saying that they were not supportive of the death penalty. So I'll leave it at that.
There are some who said it did not matter to the level it did to others. It seemed with victims' family members that there were more that did. But Mark, I'm so appreciative of you jumping on with me last minute for the breaking news. Thank you. I'm going to call you again on this because this is definitely not over. And Brian Enton, I'm going to ask you to stay because there's still lots of work I have ahead, questions I have for you as well. There's this notion after the break that I'm going to dig into the protocols because I want to know if he's got to stand up in court and tell us what happened. What did you do to those kids? Tell us, because we've been under gag order all these years. Is it time for Bryan Kohberger to not just say he's guilty, but what he did and why he did it? I'm going to find out if the law demands that in Idaho. The expert in Idaho protocols is coming up in just a moment. But also, Stacy and Jim Chapin are the parents of Ethan Chapin. And Mark Garagos just mentioned they weren't all on board for a death penalty. Here's part of the interview that I did with them many months ago.
For us in our family, personally, he was kind of the comedian. He could lighten any family situation.
Yeah, he was good.
He was funny. He was kind.
Yeah.
He just kept us all moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. He
loved his family, his
Yeah.
friends. He
Yeah.
just loved to be with everybody and just have a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty easygoing. He just loved life.
There are likely some defensive wounds, but no, there just were a lot of stab wounds. And so, I mean, it was late at night or early in the morning. So it seems likely that maybe they were sleeping.
That was an interview that shocked me. Shortly after the murders of 4 University of Idaho students, I spoke with the coroner, who told me about the depth of the stab wounds, who told me about details it was just sort of bone chilling to hear what had happened to those 4 kids. She won't be testifying. Nobody will be. No one will be testifying, but I sure hope that Bryan Kohberger has to stand up and make an allocution explaining to us why. What did you do to these 4 kids and why? Not every state operates the same way. I've seen allocutions before, like Dennis Rader's that, rose the hair on the back of my neck. But others, Chris Watts, he said a few things about the kids that he killed, his own kids, his wife, but not all the details, not all of them. I want to bring in Edwina Alcock. She is an attorney in Idaho. She knows the protocols in that state. That is her state, and this is a state case. And Brian Enton is still here with me as well to fill in a lot of the gaps. I've got you still here, Brian. I know it's breaking news, and I'm sorry to keep you, but I'm going to ask you a question in a moment. Edwina, can you tell me about the protocol for a circumstance like this? Start with Wednesday, the day that the plea is going to be changed from not guilty to guilty. What should we expect to see happen on Wednesday? What will we hear from Bryan Kohberger on that day?
Sure. Thank you, Ashley. I think that what we can anticipate in this case is the judge is not going to accept any type of skirting around the elements of this crime. Unfortunately, what is going to be required is Mr. Kohberger pleading guilty to the elements of the murders of each of these 4 kids. And I hate to use the words kids because they're obviously adults, but we know that they're just, university students on the cusp of their life. And I think the court is going to require and not accept anything other than Mr. Kohberger telling the court exactly what happened in this case.
But I don't expect that Wednesday. Do you expect that much of an allocution on Wednesday, or do you expect to hear those kinds of details during sentencing at the end of July?
If the court is going to accept a guilty plea on Wednesday, Bryan Kohberger is going to have to tell the court exactly what he did to be guilty of this crime. So I do expect that on Wednesday. Unless there was an Alford plea, which I cannot anticipate the state agreeing to in this case. But if the court is going to accept a plea, he's going to have to tell the court what he did.
And Brian Enton, if you could just weigh in very quickly, this has all been very last minute for the families as well. And so they haven't even got 48 hours at this point to put together their statements, their victims' impact statements. I mean, where did they tell you they were at with this process? Even arriving, even going to the hearing on Wednesday.
Well, and just to respond to what Edwina said, I have been told that the prosecution said that they would not accept an Alford plea. And what an Alford plea is, and Edwina can correct me if I'm wrong, she's the lawyer here, but the way I understand it, an Alford plea would have been a plea where he would have pled guilty, gotten life, but he wouldn't have actually admitted to committing the murders. And I am told that the prosecution would not accept that kind of a plea. It needed to be just a flat out, I did it, I'm taking full responsibility plea. So I don't think Alford plea is on the table, but I guess we'll find out for sure on Wednesday. In terms of the timing, I mean, I think these families were getting ready for a trial in August and emotionally gearing up for that. And now to know that they have to figure out a way to get to Boise in 2 days and face the man who is admitting to killing their kids And I told you this earlier, Ashley. One family member told me, and this just like really hit me the way she described it. You know, that she had been working for 2.5 years to get her power back, like to take the power away from Bryan Kohberger and to feel empowered again. And that she felt like when the prosecution gave Kohberger the option of either taking the plea or going to trial, that he somehow had all the power again now. And that was the most devastating thing for her. And I think that just gives you an eye into sort of how these families are processing this right now.
I can't even imagine what it's like to walk in their shoes. Edwina Elcox, thank you for stepping in last minute on this breaking news. Brian Entin, as always, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your work, and it is just stellar. You are among the giants, I believe, in this industry. Thank you for that. In just a moment, Brian's going to come back, and I'm going to give you the lowdown, the schedule, not just Wednesday, but the sentencing schedule. And then I'm going to remember the 4 most important people in this story, the 4 kids who lost their lives. That's next. I'm still trying to get my head around it, but in a matter of 2 days, Bryan Kohberger is going to stand up in an Idaho courtroom and tell us all what we all pretty much thought all this time, that he did it, that he's guilty of murdering 4 kids in Idaho. And I call them kids because they were university kids in the prime of their lives. Brian Entin is back with me now. Brian, I was hoping you could give me the schedule. Give me an outlook for Wednesday for this, plea change, and then for the sentencing at the end of July.
Yeah, so we know the plea hearing is going to be Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. exactly. I heard what Edwina said, which I thought was interesting, that she thinks we might get like a really detailed confession. I don't know that. I don't know if it's going to be sort of procedural or if there'll be a lot of information that comes out. I don't know, but it's Wednesday, 11 a.m. And then the sentencing, I'm told, will be later in July. What's interesting, though, which is no surprise, just sort of the way this case has gone, is the official docket hasn't been updated yet. The court hasn't sent anything out. This is all information we're still getting through sources close to the trial that we have. So I'm still waiting on the official sort of docket change, which hasn't happened yet.
Brian, thank you. You're going to join me in the next hour. I'm going to end this hour by showing the 4 pictures of the people who matter most in this case. And those are the victims of who Bryan Kohberger will say he's guilty of murdering: Ethan, Madison, Xana, and Kaylee. I'll be back with you in just minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to our breaking news coverage. I'm Ashley Banfield, and yes, it is late. It is not normal for me to be on at this hour, but there is such a seismic shift in the true crime community because Bryan Kohberger has agreed to plead guilty after more than 2.5 years of us waiting and wondering, did he do it? If he did do it, why did he do it? The murder of 4 innocent University of Idaho students murdered in their beds. Again, almost 3 years ago now. We've been waiting under gag order for the most part for answers. And those answers were supposed to come during a trial that was set to get underway in just a month. Why did these 4 innocent kids lose their lives? Who is this guy to them? Why would he choose them if he did it? And why on earth would anyone break into a home of sleeping innocent kids and knife them to death in their beds? All of these answers were supposed to be coming to us at the end of this month and beginning of August. Now, I'm not so sure. I wish I could come on the air tonight and tell you exactly what's going to happen. Best guess, after almost 40 years of doing this job, is that, yeah, you're going to get some answers. Bryan Kohberger doesn't just get to say, all right, I did it, now leave me alone. It doesn't work that way. He has to do something called an allocution. That's typically what happens when somebody agrees that they're guilty. They have to tell us why. They have to tell us what they did. A couple things are about to happen. On Wednesday of this week, Kohberger is going to be marched into court, more than likely in an orange jumpsuit, because there's no verdict now that's going to be rendered on him from a jury of dispassionate citizens, right? Now it doesn't matter if you see him looking guilty in an orange jumpsuit or in his fancy little suit and tie. That's my guess. My guess is that he will come into court in an orange jumpsuit, and he will be asked to stand in front of Judge Hippler and plead guilty to each and every one of the murders, as well as the burglary. And he will have to answer to what he did to each of these kids and why he's guilty of it. As for the details, the very perplexing details as to why he chose these 4, that I can't promise you will happen on Wednesday. That I'm not sure will happen on Wednesday. At some point, we will hear more details. My thought is it would be likely better reserved until sentencing, when there's a more formal process, when, family members can actually book tickets and hotels to be in this jurisdiction and be present for it. It's 48 hours away, for Pete's sake, not even. They barely even heard about this before they suddenly have to scramble to be present for it. So Wednesday is the change in plea, where he will formally admit to stringing us all along for almost 3 years. And he will admit that he's guilty of these 4 murders. Whether he allocutes and tells us more details, I don't know. But then there will be the sentencing at the end of July. And at that point, I believe we're going to learn a lot more. And at that point, you will hear that Brian Kohberger has agreed to this deal. And in return, he will go to prison for life with 4 consecutive life sentences. Why 4 consecutive? You die after 1. Why do you need the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in a row? Well, in case something falls through. Maybe there's a hitch. Maybe something goes wrong in one of the murders. Doubtful, but you still have the next one and 3 after that. So he will do 4 consecutive life sentences. He will not have the ability to get parole ever. It's called toe tag parole in my line of work. It means you come out of that prison in a pine box with a tag on your toe, and you do not come out of that prison any other way. Toe tag parole for him. He also has to waive the right to an appeal, which means you cannot bother us anymore with your excuses. You cannot make any more excuses for this. You cannot tie up the courts. You cannot tie up the emotions of the victims' family members who were left behind. You need to go away and die at your own rate in a cell. This is the agreement he's made. Brian Kohberger will go to prison for life with no opportunity for parole, with no opportunity to ever appeal this. And for that, he doesn't face the firing squad or an electric chair or a needle. More than likely the firing squad, because that's what Idaho has been working towards. It's seismic. I told you it's seismic, because the families, they really didn't know this was coming. They were part of the process, but only for the last few days. And that's where Brian Enton comes in. My colleague, News Nation's national correspondent, Brian Enton, you broke this story. You have been monitoring this all the way along. And even though it's happening, it's still really hard to process.
It is, and I've said it over and over again all day. I never thought that there would be a plea deal. People would ask me all the time. I never thought. I thought there was going to be a trial. That was the indication I always got from the prosecution. That was the feeling I got from being at pretty much every single court hearing. But that started to change on Friday, when there was a meeting with the victims' families, and for the first time that I knew of, there was this talk of, what would you think about a plea deal? And then over the weekend, more chatter, and they actually the prosecution extended the offer to the defense on Sunday night, so last night, and then the defense accepted it and said, we will take this deal. Death is now off the table, life in prison, no opportunity for parole, no opportunity to appeal. But it all happened very, very fast, Ashley.
And overwhelming for many of the surviving family members. And let's not also forget, Brian, there are 2 surviving roommates who were there. Extraordinarily traumatizing for them to not only have lived through these last 2.5+ years. But the advent of having to get up on the stand in a very public trial in front of the eyes of the world and tell their traumatic experiences, they also more than likely had a say in this process. But the family members were not all in lockstep. I dare say the majority of them very much against a plea deal.
Yes, I mean, there are some that we know of who have been open to a plea deal in life behind bars, but for the most part, the conversations that I have had, people, the families wanted to see this through. They wanted to see the prosecution take this to the end. They felt that Bryan Kohberger deserved the death penalty, and they feel like there has been this negotiation between the defense and the prosecution happening almost in secret. Like the fact that this all took this turn over the weekend and the families didn't know that this was brewing before Friday. And I was just thinking about something else, Ashley, this court date of Wednesday. So now on Wednesday of this week, there is this official court date that the families were told about when the plea will happen in court. To me, that shows that the judge is in on it. I mean, it hasn't officially been it showed up on the court like system on the computer, but if the judge has set the court date, he's obviously been a part of these conversations and acknowledged that there's a deal on the table.
With something this high profile, I cannot imagine that it didn't go before the judge already. They can formally put it on the record on Wednesday, but why set this all up to fail on Wednesday and devastate everybody all over again? And when I say everybody, I mean the victims' family members all over again. So I'm not surprised that the judge wouldn't sort of be involved and say, all right, let's go ahead with this. Let's make it formal. Let's have him confess in court and tell us that he did it to each one of these kids. He's got 4 charges, one for each of them, and each of them is just as important as the other. Real quickly, did you tell me that Bryan Kohberger's family has never visited him in prison these 2.5 years that he's been in Idaho? They're all the way over in Pennsylvania. Have they never seen him?
Yeah, unless it was a recent visit, my reporting has always been based on sources that I have that they have not visited him in person in Idaho, that there have been phone calls and letters, but never an in-person visit. They have never been at any of the, I've been at, I think every hearing. They've not been to any of the hearings in Idaho. They were there. The one time I've seen Bryan Kohberger's parents were right after his arrest in Pennsylvania. They came to his first hearing there and sort of like shuffled in, and then they brought them out the back. But no, they have never been to Idaho.
Well, he can get used to not having them visit even more because he's going to do that time in Idaho. And unless they move across the country, he will not be seeing his family. If they haven't seen him in the last 2.5, I can't imagine in 4 consecutive life sentences that they'll be regular visitors. Bryan, don't go away. I wanted to let our viewers know that in the last hour, if you were watching, I had the opportunity to do the first national interview with Steve Gonsalves, who has been a vocal opponent to any kind of plea deal. He and his wife, Christy, and their kids have been steadfast in their desire to see Bryan Kohberger, if found guilty, face a firing squad for the murders of these 4 kids. I had a chance to speak with him and his attorney, Shannon Gray, in the last hour. I want to replay that for you. Steve Gonsalves. He is the father of Kaylee Gonsalves. His attorney is Shannon Gray, who has stood by him steadfast from the beginning. Steve, you know, I don't know what to say. You're the first person I thought of when I heard this news today. I reached out to you right away, first to tell you how sorry I was, because I know how this is landing, at least I think I do. But I wanted you to have your say. I wanted you to be able to say out loud for everyone to hear what this means to you and your family.
This is anything but justice. This is the opposite of our will. There was no majority believing that this was acceptable. I want to honor all the police officers, the FBI, and all the people that work their tail off. The failure is at the court level, 100%. But the men in the boots on the ground and the women that were out there working, I want to honor everything that they did for our children, 100%. The fault is in leadership and the people that you place this evidence upon. They week, they decided to play God and decide what this man's decision should be.
Very wild out there in response to this. People are angry. They are.
Was she ready? Was Ann Taylor ready for trial? Maybe not. Maybe she got her butt handed to her with a few of the rulings last week where she wasn't allowed to point to anybody else and raise them as possible killers. Maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back for her. In any case, the internet was on fire. And there are two people who know well what the mood was like out there. Annie Elise is host of the podcast Serialously with Annie Elise, and Justin Shepard is host of the TikTok Just in the Nick of Crime. They are both with me now. Annie, I'll start with you. Wow. The comments have lit up.
Yeah, it has definitely been very wild out there in response to this. People are angry. They are outraged. I mean, the fact that this plea deal happened without all of the families coming together and signing off on it, it's really upset the public, because a lot of this is also sparking confusion too. Like, how is somebody who is facing quadruple murder charges even being offered a plea deal? If this is not what justice looks like, and arguably it could be construed as re-victimizing these victims all over again.
Yeah, that's what Steve Gonzalez told me. He is livid. He said that the majority of the families are in lockstep with him. Justin, what are you seeing from a lot of your followers?
So I can echo those same sentiments. People are unhappy about it. You know, there's a lot of people who have been following this case we're now getting on 3 years, and they've wanted to see justice. They've wanted to see the evidence. Not that is necessarily any of their business, but at the same time, the families are the biggest issue here. The fact that they weren't consulted, that they weren't brought in on this, that they found out via letter, you know, that's just not the way these things should go. And the other thing, which is kind of a pretty common sentiment, is at the end of the day, you know, we don't know what would have happened in this trial, whether he would have gotten the death penalty or not. But the way this sits right now is, if Kohberger's family wants to pick up a phone and call, if they want to visit him, they still have the ability to do that if he's sitting in prison for the rest of his life. However, Maddie, Xana, Ethan, and Kaylee's family, they're never going to have that opportunity again. And it just really doesn't seem that fair.
You know, is there any, I'll get you to answer this one. Is there any talk in the social media world right now about demanding answers? At the very least, if this is going to happen, the families deserve, the people of Idaho deserve to know why. Why did you do it? And why these four?
I think that is the biggest point of contention, Ashley, because this is now robbing the families and the public of the full truth. Without the trial, a trial would have forced every detail, every timeline inaccuracy, any possible error to come to light. Now that's not happening. And if there is an allocution, we don't know how detailed that is going to be. And the public and the family, everybody wants answers. Nobody deserves it more than the family, but what was the motive? Why did this happen? And the questions go so far below the line as well, into everybody wanted to know, is there a link to the Papa Rogers account? What was he really doing? We know obviously now he wasn't stargazing as he had claimed to be doing. So there's just so many questions left unanswered. And I personally think that one of the biggest pieces of this too are the roommates, Dylan and Bethany. They now don't get their say in court. They don't get to face him. And there has been so much rumor and speculation about them over the last few years. And I would imagine now, with things shut down, without all of that discovery out, the rumors are going to continue flying. They're not going to be shut down.
It's a really good point. Justin, the gag order has been suffocating for people who are in the business of transparency. That's us, the media. This is the public process that we cherish in America. Other countries I have visited as a war correspondent, they don't have this. It's secret justice. It's hooded justice. It's gulag justice. We don't do that. The gag order will be lifted. How much of it do you expect to learn, Justin? And how much of it do you expect will always be a secret?
You know, that's a great question. And unfortunately, we don't know what we don't know. I'm hoping that a lot will come out because, you know, as we're talking about, the public wants to know. They want to know why he chose these four people. Why did he go to the house? What was he doing? Why did he plan it? If that's what he did, you know, what was the reason and methodology behind all of it? And hopefully that comes out. The other thing that I'm kind of hoping to come out is when you go back to the very beginning of this and you look at that no-knock warrant that was signed off by a judge in Pennsylvania, to get a warrant like that takes some incredibly compelling evidence. And usually you don't have that many things listed on the description of it. And when we saw that warrant, it was pretty lengthy. And so if that was just a portion of what they knew then and everything they found out since then, I'm hoping that we kind of get a little bit more of an idea of what all was out there that led them to track him down in the first place.
Amen to that. I'll be with you guys as we look to.
All right, y'all, I'm going to play this thing from Ethan's family. Like, Coffindorfer's coming on next. I don't think anybody in here cares to hear what she has to say. We can guess. So give me 1 second.
Thank you for everybody that has joined us and is sticking around and watching this with us.
We are back with our GMA cover story. More on the Idaho College murders case after Brian Koberger agreed to plead guilty to all counts. Shortly before we learned of the plea deal, Kana Whitworth sat down with the family of one of the victims, Ethan Chapin. I want to go back to Kana in Boise. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, George, good morning. So the last time that Jim and Stacy Chapin saw their son Ethan alive, it was Parents' Weekend at the University of Idaho. They told me they left full of pride. Their 3 children, their triplets, were living their best lives. But that feeling was short-lived. It wasn't long after they learned that Ethan had been murdered in a quadruple homicide that thrust the town of Moscow into chaos. And this morning, for the first time, the Chapin family tells the story of how they stayed afloat.
We just decided maybe it was best to tell our story of Ethan literally one time. He deserves it. He deserves our story of him.
This morning, as the Idaho murder suspect prepares to accept a plea deal, the family of Ethan Chapin speaking publicly together for the first time since Ethan, his girlfriend Xana Kernodle, and her roommates Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez were brutally murdered in an off-campus home at the University of Idaho.
I miss him every day. When you lose your son at 20, it's different. It's a different loss. And I miss him every single day. And I always will.
Ethan, a triplet with his siblings, Hunter and Maisie, all attending the University of Idaho together. Hunter and Maisie and their parents, Jim and Stacy, now telling their story in a new Prime Video docuseries, One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, remembering their 6'4", larger-than-life brother and son.
We played every sport together. Every time we went in the car, it was together, partied together. There was never a dull moment.
The night before Ethan was killed, Maisie brought him to her sorority formal. She now cherishes the text he sent her before bed.
So he started off by texting me. I think he said, "Dog, come hang out. We all want you here." And I said, "I'm going to bed." And then he said, "Love you." And I didn't even respond to that. I think I was asleep by then.
And the "I love you" kind of stood out, though.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Hunter, who pledged Sigma Chi with Ethan, says the next morning, a friend at the fraternity woke him up saying the police were at Xana's house.
Hunter Johnson came up to me and said, I was like, "Where's Ethan and Xana?" And he's like, "They're not here anymore." So, "What do you mean they're not here anymore?" He's like, "I think they were murdered last night."
Hunter was forced to call his family with the news, his parents in disbelief.
It drives me crazy because I've always wanted to protect my family. And there's really nothing there that I could have done. Instantly he was taken.
A suspect, Brian Koberger, arrested nearly 7 weeks later. With a bit of relief, the Chapins shifting their focus to their son's legacy, getting tattoos to honor him.
We all benefited from having Ethan in our lives for 20 years. It's a tremendous loss.
Now, the Chapins told me that they brought Ethan's ashes and his red Jeep home to one of their favorite places in Priest Lake, Idaho, where they live like Ethan every day to honor his legacy. For more on their story, you can catch One Night in Idaho, the college murders. It premieres on July 11th on Prime Video. George.
Okay, Canna, thanks very much.
So Hunter Johnson got around that day, right? Because he was the one that found them. He was the one that told Ethan's brother, and his sister was crying, y'all. I think they hold back a lot of their tears on camera. There are a lot of people that don't want to be on national TV just squalling. It doesn't mean you don't love somebody, but his sister was crying, but she probably rehearsed that a million times. It's just, it's okay. I'm not being mean. I try not to judge how these people feel, because he was a triplet. There's a difference in that, I believe. I mean, it's taken them a long time to speak publicly, but Hunter Johnson was why is he the one that tells everybody? And how are you just going to tell his brother he's not here anymore? Maybe I shouldn't judge that part, but I'm just like, why is he the one that went in the house and how is he everywhere? Like, I'm really a little confused about this. Yeah, as far as Dylan and Bethany not getting to tell their side, I don't think either one of them wanted to get up on the court. So, I mean, I think they're happy because they didn't ever want to do this anyway. I don't care. Dylan walked by Xana laying in the damn floor. Okay. She fucking saw Xana laying in the floor, and she did not call she saw a masked man and she didn't call 911. They may have been able to be saved, or at least they may have been able to be alive long enough to tell somebody something. So that with Dylan and Bethany didn't unalive anyone. I don't even want to hear that shit. We've done seen the documents saying that they were on the phone. Dylan was on the phone. That's stupid as shit. I don't care. She knows to call 911. Yada, yada, yada. Her and her daddy done deleted texts they were sending to each other. So, yeah, I don't give a shit whether she was drunk and passed out. You didn't go check on your friend, but you saw a masked man. Okay, if she didn't see nothing else but her laying on the floor, maybe. But she saw a damn masked man and she was scared. But there's no reason to do anything except lock yourself in a room. Get the hell out of here. I can't even do that. I can't go there. I'm sorry. And I cannot. Sorry.
I have a problem with that too. I just can't. I don't know. I mean, I know drunk and everything else, and they're young girls, so okay. But if I seen my friend laying on the floor, and I just seen a masked man in my house, and I heard her crying before this, and nobody's answering their phone, I might have ran past for a minute and went down and got Bethany and made her go back up with me. But my butt would have been over there checking. I just don't understand that part.
I don't think they were that drunk. I don't think Dylan was that drunk. I mean, I don't, because if she's able to text like that and everything else, and she can call 911, the issue is for 8 hours, and then she calls somebody else over to the house. It's not me judging. If it was a couple hours, if they would have called somebody to the house then, if it would have been 2 hours, I am sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. There is absolutely no excuse. If Dylan was scared then why is Xana laying on the damn floor? Okay, you're scared. Xana's on the floor. You're scared about something. No, I'm not buying that.
No, I'm not either with that.
I mean, I just don't. I've never, and I don't think everything I get in my readings are right, but I got about what Dylan did. You know, I don't know that, I don't think she yielded a weapon, but I think they waited to make sure everybody wasn't going to be able to be saved completely before they called. And that might have been this is the thing. It may have been they were being threatened. They may be threatened now. Okay. And that's something serious if they are. But her and her dad having text messages that are deleted, and that's in documents, and Taylor said that. So also, I don't buy that shit of all of them being up in Kaylee's room socializing, because there's 3 different stories, which some of that stuff is not Dylan's fault because she cannot help what they put in the PCA. She cannot help that she told them that she didn't know if she was dreaming or if it was real, and they didn't, you know, admit her statement because she don't even know what was going on. I'm not blaming her for any of that. My issue is she saw Xana on the floor. She saw a masked man and she is scared. She calls them and nobody answers. We're not waiting till 8 hours late. I mean, what the hell? I'm sorry. No, they're 19 and 20. Listen to me. A 5-year-old knows better. I don't care. And you don't stay that drunk, honey. You see a masked man, like, that's like seeing blue lights in your rearview mirror. You become undrunk or unscrewed up real quick, like. And for them not to want to testify, like, those are supposed to be your friends. Why would you not want to testify unless they're being threatened? But if they were being threatened, I would think that their lawyers would keep them from, I mean, it would have to go further than this. I'm not saying they're not being threatened. I'm saying somebody needs to figure out what's going on. Well, I don't know who unalived them, but that person isn't blamed. But damn it, there's somebody in the house, dude. I mean, what if they could have saved, if one of them could have lived long enough, even if they wouldn't have lived, I mean, I hate saying it like this, so trigger warning, forever like now, but what if one of them could have said or most anything? Like, okay, let me ask you a question. All these people saying this. And I want you to think about if you have a kid. Okay, make sure you're thinking about your kid. And they have freaking roommates. They've called every fucking body else, dude. But they were scared because of masked man. That makes I don't understand what the hell, because if it was y'all's kids, it would not be doing like this. Like, that's just not, I can't do it. Oh, sorry, Rock Hog. I'm an idiot. I did that.
I was going to say, that's on her.
Sorry.
I'll blame Trisha.
Wait a minute. Where's my? Hang on.
Well, that's just me.
I know. Hang on. There we go. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So, yeah, I just can't. I don't know. I mean, I'm not blaming them for it happening. I don't think that Dylan planned. Like, I do think she knew something was going to happen. I don't know that she knew that was going to happen. That happened, but I just
now who's talking is Trisha from Echoes of Clarity.
Yeah, I have a southern draw. I live in Alabama.
Yeah, no, I don't have that.
Not that you can tell.
That's funny. Hold on, I got to answer my phone real quick. You go.
What I do know for sure is that they were texting. What I do know for sure is she said she saw a masked man more than once. What I do know for sure is she said she was scared. What I do know for sure is they called and didn't get an answer. So, and they knew to call somebody to come over and look for them at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever time it was. Hey, TMI, I'm just like, I'm not being mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being real. I mean, Ethan's parents are not happy with Dylan and Bethany. I mean, I know they're not happy with Dylan. That it's been expressed. They don't even want to testify. Like, I can't. I don't know. You know. Yeah. And I said, honestly, I hoped I was wrong about Dylan. I would rather her not have to deal with this. And I don't even blame her, because if her dad is deleting text with her, like, who's taught her? Like, there's something wrong with this. We weren't there, but all we can go by is what the hell they're saying and what it looks like. And like, you don't say you're scared. There's a masked man. Xana's laying on the floor. You can't get in touch with anybody. Well, it's not. Well, yeah, I mean, it is all hearsay except the documents, which some of them I don't even know some of them. But I'm just saying, like, you can't. It's just a lot, and it's a lot for Dylan to have to carry if that's what happened. You know what I mean? That's a whole lot for her to carry. Yeah, and I don't know that was in any of the documents. So nothing Bethany said was in any of the documents. So I'm not sure whether Bethany really said that or who said what or what with that. But what I'm saying is, we know that Dylan was scared. We know that she ran to Bethany's room. We know they were awake. We know they didn't get in touch with anybody. So, I mean, at least call the kid's parents. Hey, your kid's not answering shit, anything. I mean, if you're not calling the police, I get it. I don't know what's going on with the police. I'm not saying they're suspicious or not. I don't know. I am not there. But I know that call somebody. And for Hunter Johnson to get a knife before he goes to the room to check on them, well, I thought he thought they were passed out drunk. What does he need a knife for? How suspicious? And that's in a document. So
yeah, that don't make sense. It just don't make sense on why. I mean, for the fact that when you reach the top of the stairs and you got to go all the way over to the kitchen to get the knife when the room's right there, like, that just don't make sense to me. And sorry, my granddaughter showed up. So that's what's in the background.
It's fine. I told you, background noise is life. We're not in the movies. Well, this is our real life. So, and I can't hear that much, and it sounds cute to me. So.
Oh yeah. She's full of it today. But
I mean, if they're being threatened, you know what I mean? Like, if their life is being threatened and it was being threatened and they didn't have a choice but to not call 911, then I you know what I mean? No, I can't blame them, because they are young, and like, if you're being threatened, what the hell are you going to do? They know that they just did that to 4 people in the house. If that's the deal, then no, I'm not upset with them, because I mean, I can't be, because that's crazy. But I mean, I don't know that that's what went on. That's what I'm saying. That's why somebody needs to know, because I don't want to blame them if Dylan was being threatened with her life, her family being threatened, and she was scared to death. Because what do? You know that they just went through and did that to 4 people, and it's not a GUN. This is personal, like up close and personal. It doesn't have to be. I know a lot of people think it's got to be an ex-boyfriend or something, but y'all, gangs and stuff, or hired hitmen do this kind of stuff. They do this kind of stuff. That's what they do. So, I don't think Brian Kohberger went in that house Ethan was 6'4". I don't care if Ethan fought every day or not. I don't give a shit. He was 6'4". There's no way Brian Kohberger attacked Xana and Ethan's just I mean, what the fuck? That's not even logical. It's not logical. It's stupid. It's stupid. And I can't. So, like, if he had something to do with this, he was not alone. And I don't think he was jealous and some whatever, because there's 2 people alive. And in this case, there's a reason that 2 people are alive, in my opinion. So I'm just saying. That's my opinion, though. And I'm not getting mad at people that don't think that. I'm just saying, I cannot deal with poor Dylan, Bethany. I can't. If I know that they're being threatened and whatever, then yeah, I can go there. But not the stuff that's played out in these documents.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. If there's text messages that Steve G says there is, that, you know, Dylan said, did it sound like they were being unalived upstairs? If that's true, then yeah, what the hell? Why would you not have called 911? If you can write that in a text message, then you know something is wrong upstairs.
I'm not blaming Dylan and Bethany, okay? That's not what I'm doing. I'm not blaming them for the murders. I'm blaming them for nobody calling 911, and they're scared. They're scared. There's a masked man in the house. Dylan sees Xana on the floor. If she wouldn't have saw a masked man and she wouldn't have said she was scared, seeing Xana on the floor thinking she's drunk, oh, Ethan's got it's fine. But what the fuck? She saw a masked man. They called them. They could not get in touch with them. So you're going to sit there for 8 hours? I can't. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I cannot. Sorry.
Yeah. Nope, I can't either with that one. Oh.
Even if she didn't call 911, call somebody. If she was going to call Hunter Johnson, call him over then. You can't get in touch with these people. You're freaking out about it, but there's no reason to do anything for 8 hours. I don't understand how that makes sense. I'm sorry. I just can't.
No, and you've seen the interview with Hunter and Emily and Josie, and Emily said that she joked around with Dylan when Dylan called them. Like, made a joke in that about stuff.
Whose hero is Brian? Because I know, but if he's innocent, then why? I mean, what the fuck is the point in him going to jail? The people are still out there, and he's not the only one. This is bigger than this. This has got to do with a lot more than just what Brian Kohberger, for goodness sakes. It has to do with more than Brian Kohberger. And if you don't think that, I'm sure you don't think P. Diddy's guilty, or Hollywood has tunnels, or they abuse kids, or anything else that goes on. That really goes on. And that's the reality you live in. I've had to go down a long road of a reality that really goes on. So, you know, it is what it is. And those fraternities are mini Masons. And if you look at them, that's who they were funded by.
I agree with you, Daddy.
What's the same?
I agree with Kane's comment. Because I call him Rat Daddy. They are out full force. Nobody's saying we're.
How do you know Brian Kohberger's guilty? I mean, you know what I mean? He could be being threatened. His family could be being threatened. You know what I mean? Where's the evidence? If they show me the evidence that shows that he's guilty, okay, I'm fine. Like, I cannot stand people say, "Oh, he's your hero." Hero for what? I don't know that man. If he did the shit, then he needs to be in trouble. But I want everybody. I don't want one. I want them all, because that's what those kids deserve, is that kind of justice.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they've been done correctly. I think they've been disrespected with a fucking clown show that's been going on. And I am very much for these victims getting justice, because they were very young to not be here, and they've died in a horror movie that, I mean, it scares the shit out of me. Like, it's horrible. No, who in the hell wants somebody to walk free? But who wants the innocent person to go to jail and the guilty people be running the damn streets? I mean, come on. We got to, and I'm not saying he's innocent. I was not, I mean, look, it's possible anything, but I don't think it's possible he just did that by himself. No. I mean, what if Brian just knows something?
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's no other thing except that he knows something. And so, you know, Ethan is 6'4". He was not a pencil. He's not just letting somebody attack Xana. I don't care if he's drunk or not. Guess what? He fight or fight. I mean, I'm telling y'all. You have blue lights behind you. You ever smoke some weed and drive down the road, your ass is sober, more sober than anything. You see blue lights, especially behind you. You become real sober. I mean, you know, you still ain't gonna pass no alcohol test if you got that much alcohol in you. But I'm saying though, like, something happens. So
And Arthur
no more info come out. We are just discussing.
Yeah, I don't think Dylan and Bethany had anything to do with the
Why
crime.
Dylan and Bethany are not guilty of the crime,
Yeah,
but are guilty
no.
of something. They're guilty of not fucking calling anybody for help. Dana's on the floor. Dylan's scared. She runs to Bethany's room, but we have people in here going, well, I don't understand what's their fault. I didn't say it was their fault there, but I am saying that the fuck, you're scared. You're not calling nobody. Like, we're just going to sit here and fucking wait 8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't get it. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're arguing with people.
No.
We're not really arguing. That's what we're doing.
No.
They're supposed to have court tomorrow, right? At 10 Mountain Time, Christy? Somebody?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
11.
So that's 10 your time, Shaggy.
Yeah. Hey, Shaggy. But I got to call it an end here. Got grandkid and daughter here. My other daughter's coming, and we're going to chill for a little bit.
We've been on here for like, I don't know how long. For
2 hours and 10 minutes. So, but I
so
want to
let's
thank
say
you.
Idaho time. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I thought it was 10. So, well.
Okay.
So let's.
Wait a minute. What Birdie say? Hi, Birdie. Thank you for joining us. Plans to take the plea and not guilty. It's a hostage video with paperwork.
I don't know. I don't even know if he's going to plead because, like, I can't remember who said it in here, but it may be. I don't know. I don't believe nothing until it happens. So, at all, period. Show me. That's my whole.
Yeah.
Event to life. So, I don't know. I know my head hurts. This case drives me crazy, but.
Yeah.
If he does plead guilty, either it is whatever Birdie just said, or they have something on him. But Kane, I am live. What do you mean go live?
Because I said I was getting off. I think I can get off and you can still stay on.
Okay, I'm gonna go live and your ass is gonna come up here and talk because I'm tired of talking.
Yes, I agree. You get up early here. So, but
If
everybody.
you're sleepy, Kane, Mr. 2 o'clock in the fucking morning, or
Yeah, my phone's ringing at 11 o'clock at night I'm like, oh, thanks. But now I'm going to call it an end. I want to thank you all for being here and showing up. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, share, all that. And tomorrow for this hearing, I'm sure we'll be live and see what comes out of this and what we learn, and hopefully we can figure out a little more info and find out what's going on. But I don't know if I can leave, and are you going to stay on if I leave, or do we have to both shut down? Trisha? Well, maybe. I guess I'm the only one here. She already left, so I don't know. But I'm going to end the stream, and I again want to thank you all, and I will see you later. If she goes live, I'll be in chat. If not, we'll be live tomorrow for the hearing. Oh, are you back?
Hang on, y'all. Yeah, I hit the damn plug again, so I really should fucking call an electrician to get them to fix this plug so I can quit hitting this extension cord. Kane, I mean, you gonna talk, Kane? I'm not playing. You talking?
Thank you, Rock. Thank you, Shaggy, everybody in here, but I do got to call. Do I end it or what? On my end. Do I just leave studio? Does that end it for me?
Yeah, I'm just saying it too. We sound like we ended our lives here, but I'm fixing to end this. Kane text me or something. You're doing a hearing tomorrow with Mama Dude. Who the hell is that? I don't know who that is. But Kane text me, and I mean, I'm tired of talking. Damn it! Are you gonna get up here and talk? Because if you are, then I'll stay live. Christy, you can exit if you need to, because I know your granddaughter's there. Love you. I will see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
Oh, hell. What is my channel? I don't even know my thing. See, Christy has the links. I don't ever do the links. Y'all can stay in Christy's. Like, I do this for Christy's thing. I don't care, y'all. Like, I really don't care. But hang on. I don't know the link to my channel. Kane, do your damn job. You tell me to do mine. Well, come the fuck on. Oh, we got to put my link in there because no, I forgot Christy just got off. Shit. Oh, Kane, you got me all kind of fuckered up here. Swear to God. Hang on a minute, y'all. I should have told Christy to put my link in first. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Okay, yeah, you got to hurry up. I got to pee. What in the fuck is going on with this? Hang on. Oh, I'm sure somebody's going to get mad because I'm saying fuck, and I'm going to say it a million more times too because that's what I say. I don't care. Suck it. Sure enough. I can't deal with all that kind of bullshit, isn't it? Oh my God, I'm a dumbass. That's not how I do that. The story of my life. Okay. Kane, hang on. I'm going to get you a link. I can't do everything at once. I got confused. Kane's fixing to come up here. He's got to have a link first. I'm getting it. Sorry. One thing I can do, but one thing at a time. I just posted my. There you go. Christy posted. Yeah. Now I'll take you straight to this live, y'all. Okay. Keep on filling his head full of shiznit. Okay. Kane. Come on now. Oh, are you? Well, shit. What? I gotta boot you. I don't want to, Chrissy. Okay, I will. Let me pin this first. I don't think I pinned it. I don't. Hang on, Christy. Jesus Christ. Why is that? Okay, I don't know. It ain't pinning it, but okay. The link's in chat. It should stay on chat. Christy's chat will stay up anyway. That's not what I want to do. Christy, go on YouTube. Go to your YouTube. Go to my mind went blank. Go to YouTube Studio on YouTube and end it on YouTube. That's what you have to do. It's a pain in the ass. Sorry. Kane, what the fuck are you doing? You want to stream this on your channel too, Kane? Because it's probably going to ask you that. What in the hell is he doing? All right, hang on. Let me mute this so I can help Christy. Talk, Kane, because I got to help Christy.
I got it. Go ahead, go Pete. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to the Purge. I'm Kane B, the Rat Daddy. I'll be taking care of you the rest of the way here. while Trish takes care of her business. Nice to see everybody in the chat. It is Lana's live just ended, and can you guys hear me okay? Everything good? Let me make sure it's muted over here. I'll pause this shit. All right. Welcome. We got Angel D, Hillary Mansfield, Joey Aguilera. Oh, is that